Chadema leader Freeman Mbowe appears in court to face 2 charges. And in sports, FA Cup winners Simba Sports Club arrive in Dar es Salaam. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbo. First, the national news. Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango has warned employees from the health sector, including the medical stores department, that the government will not tolerate negligence, embezzlement and theft of medicines. He gave the warning when laying the foundation stone at the Southern Zone Hospital in Mtwara, where he also directed the Ministry of Health to ensure the hospital starts providing services in October this year.
Muimarishe utaratibu wa kutoa dawa na mhakikishe hakuna upotevu wa dawa. Sasa nitangulize onyo. Tena onyo kali. Watumishi wasio waaminifu katika sekta ya afya, na hasa upande wa manunuzi kwenye bohari yetu ya dawa MSD, idara za tehama, maduka ya dawa. Niwaambie, serikali ya awamu ya 6 itachukua hatua kali sana kwa yeyote atakayefanya uzembe au kuhusika na wezi wa hizo dawa.
Ni neno la shukurani. Shukurani kwa sisi watu wa kanda ya kusini kupata hospitali ya kanda. Sisi ni watu wastahimilivu sana. Mpango wa kuwa na hospitali ya kanda ulianza baba taifa alipogawa nchi yetu hii katika kanda 8. Sisi tukaambiwa kanda ya kusini, na tukaambiwa kila kanda itapata hospitali.
The chairman of opposition Chadema party, Freeman Mbowe, has appeared in Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court in Dar es Salaam to face 2 charges of conspiring to financially fund various terrorist groups in the country. Reading the first charge, State Attorney Esther Martin alleged that between May and August 2020, the accused met with terrorist groups at Aish Hotel, while in the second charge, he is alleged to have between May and August 2020 given money to fund terrorist activities. The accused was not allowed to respond to the charges as the court does not have the mandate to hear the case, and he was returned to remand custody until August 5th, when the case will come up for another mention. The 4th witness for the government, Hajreen Hassan, in the robbery case facing the former District Commissioner of High Lengai Ole Sabaya and 2 co-accused have continued to testify at ARUSHA Resident Magistrate Court. Here's more on the report.
The witness told the court that on 9th February this year, he received a phone call from his brother, Mohammed Saad, who is the owner of the shop, which was invaded by Sabaya, who ordered him to go to the shop so that he can take pictures on WhatsApp of curtains for customers, and then he'll give them their prices. The witness then said when he arrived at the shop, he found it closed, and when he opened the door to enter, he was met with a group of people and saw others lying on the floor, including a woman who was handcuffed by the group of people who alleged she had gone to the shop to change $70,000, which had been stolen in Moshi, Kilimanjaro region. He said that shortly after entering the shop, the councillor of Sombetini, Bakari Msangi, arrived at the shop and greeted Sabaya twice without being given a response. Instead, Sabaya instructed the group of people to beat up the councillor, who claimed they had stolen his wallet and phone. He told the court that Sabaya had questioned the councillor if he was involved with the Arabs in the shop, as the woman who had stolen $70,000 in Moshi had gone to the shop to change the money, to which Councillor Msangi denied any knowledge of such accusations. The witness then said that when he failed to reach the owner of the shop on phone, he was told to hand over 70 million shillings so that the issue ends, after which they were instructed to go home, where he called his mother, and instead of telling her to open the gate, he instead told her in Arabic not to open the gate. And when Sabaya and his gang saw the gate was not being opened, he and his nephew were taken to the police station. He told the court that at the station, Sabaya told the police that they were being accused of economic sabotage offences and that they had to write statements, and later they were released after complying with bail terms. In the court, the witness identified the second accused, Sylvester Nyegu, as the one who had taken from the shop EFD machines and other items from the counter. The case will continue on Tuesday, 27th, with the fifth witness testifying.
Residents from Mtepela village in Kilwa District Council, Lindi region have urged the government to intervene in a border dispute between them and Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority TAWA, who have told their residents to immediately vacate after illegally invading the area, a claim they said was not true.
Mimi sina la jipya kwa wote hawa waliopita, naungamana nao, yote waliozungumzia ni sahihi. Kwa kweli sisi hapa Mtepela hao wenzetu wa Seluu wa kituo hiki cha Miguruwe wanatunyanyasa sana. Sasa hivi napata miaka 22. Hata sisi wa mama ndo tunapata shida na hawa watu. Sasa agizo langu naagiza kwa Mheshimiwa Rais Samia Suluhu Hassani, sisi wanawake tunapata shida huku Mtepela.
Sisi tunakabiliwa na Eastern Seluu, hawa Seluu wanatusumbua sana. Msumbufu wao wanasema lengo lao kuhitaji kuchukua eneo la kijiji.
Kikubwa tu ni watoa wasiwasi kwamba mkuu wa wilaya alikuwa aje tarehe 22, lakini akawa amepata dharura, na hata hivyo pia naye mkuu wa mkoa alikuwa anataka aje katika ile eneo, lakini wako Ruangwa kule na Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu.
Chama cha Mapinduzi CCM had said it is closely monitoring the trend of some of its leaders who have been going against the directives of the party's chairperson and president of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Kinafuatilia kwa makini mienendo ya baadhi ya viongozi wake.
CCM party has been observing things done by some of its members who have been busy misleading the public against directives of the chairperson of CCM and President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan. CCM party assures its members and Tanzanians that stern disciplinary measures will be taken against all implicated according to the code of ethics of our party.
Wamehusika katika kadhi ya hiyo.
Dar es Salaam Region Commissioner Amos Makala has directed residents of Dar es Salaam to wear face masks when using public transport, being measures to fight against the third wave of the coronavirus pandemic.
Mathalani katika vyombo vya usafiri, utafiti wangu uliofanyika mpaka leo.
From the recent research I have done in public transport, only a few people do cover their faces with masks. Thus, we are determined to monitor the exercise of ensuring everybody in public transport must wear face masks in order to protect one another. I congratulate the regional commissioner. I am a retired nurse officer from Muhimbili National Hospital. We must all abide to directives given by the government of wearing face masks as a measure of protecting ourselves from the virus.
Mimi nampongeza mkuu wa mkoa sana kwa sababu mimi mwenyewe ni nurse officer, nimefanya sana kazi Muhimbili.
By doing this, we shall be able to control spread of the virus. Everybody should take precautions. Where in buses, we expect the drivers and the conductors to wear face masks as leading examples for passengers to wear masks.
A few days after residents of Kigogo Ward, Ubungo District, Dar es Salaam complained of contaminated water released from Nida factory was polluting the environment. The Minister of State Vice President's Office for Union and Environment, Suleiman Jaffo, has ordered the factory to install a wastewater purifying plant.
Nikute tayari mna kibali cha bondi ambao wamejihakikishia kwamba
I expected to find documentations justifying that this released water is safe and clean. I want to know, when will you get your permit? I am not pleased at all, because how come this factory has been in operation for more than 10 years without the permit?
Bonde
na mimi pamoja na wenzangu kwa maana ya ofisi ya mkuu wa wilaya
District Commissioner's Office will come up with solutions within 45 days. The factory should fulfill demands of bonded residents so that they could get permits.
The body of former Kilimanjaro Region Commissioner, the late Anna Mawira, has been laid to rest at her home in Makumira, Arusha region. The funeral was attended by various leaders, whereby the government was represented by the Minister of Regional Administration and Local Government, Umi Mwalimu.
Katika maisha haya tunapoitwa tunabadilishwa.
When it is time to go, we have no choice but to accept the call and begin a new life elsewhere. As a government, we have lost a leader whose leadership had impact to Tanzanians. With all due respect, receive our condolences from Her Excellency President Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan and the Communication President's Office, Regional Administration and Local Government, where the late Dr. Mawira was one among our leaders.
Hivi majuzi tumesikia serikali imetoa maelekezo kuhusiana na chanjo.
Recently, the government gave directives on the issues of vaccines. Our church is also emphasizing that it is important for Tanzanians to be vaccinated. Do not listen to propaganda, but rather pay attention to directives given by the health experts.
Na wataalamu wetu wa afya, na hususan serikali imezungumza.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next after the break.
Are you ready for some great news? I'm Christine Mundwa.
And I am Eddie Micah Jr. with the brand new DW News Africa,
The show that tackles the issues shaping the continent.
now with more time to offer an in-depth look at all the trends that matter to you.
What's making the headlines and what's behind them?
We're on the streets to give you in-depth reports and insights.
DW News Africa.
Welcome back, and in international news. Tunisian President Kais Saied's decision to suspend parliament and dismiss the prime minister has sparked protests at home, where the biggest political party decried it as a coup. Here's more on the report.
The decision was condemned as an attack on democracy by his rivals. Foreign governments have also voiced concern. In Qatar, Doha called on all parties in Tunisia's political crisis to avoid escalation and move towards dialogue. In Germany, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that Germany hoped Tunisia would return as soon as possible to constitutional order, while the European Union urged all political actors in Tunisia to respect the country's constitution and avoid violence. In Russia, the Kremlin said it was closely monitoring developments in Tunisia.
Activists in Uganda have called on the government to withdraw the vehicle allowance of 200 million shillings given to members of parliament to purchase cars, so that instead it can be used to buy vaccines against the coronavirus. The pressure from the activists following increasing criticism on how the coronavirus pandemic is being handled in the country.
If we're talking about 50 members of parliament, then perhaps things could have been different. But we're talking about 500 members of parliament. It could have made sense for them to be given loans to buy vehicles, whereby the money will be deducted from their salaries.
France's parliament has approved legislation to make COVID passes a key part of daily life and vaccinations mandatory for health workers amid a surge in infections across the country. Here's the report.
Means people visiting restaurants and other public venues or those undertaking domestic travel on trains and aeroplanes will be required to show proof of vaccination, a negative test or recent recovery from the coronavirus. Paper or digital documents will be accepted, and the new legislation says a government decree will outline how to handle vaccination documents from other countries. On Saturday, more than 160,000 people took part in protests held in several cities nationwide against the government's plans.
The military force in Burundi has said that it will continue to ensure it implements security operations along border areas as well as in other countries by adhering to rules and regulations, and that it will take stern action against soldiers who violate laws.
Security organs are working day and night so as to ensure all borders are safe. Again, we are aware that military officers in Maguguni are demanding for health services. We're working on that.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly after the break. We'll be right back.
Tune in to Business Edition and meet business leaders and experts who keep you informed on business and economic developments taking place in the country, such as tourism, construction, energy, transport, mining, agriculture, communication, banking, real estate, and more. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. Tourists from the UK have begun to visit Zanzibar after a German airline has started routes between Germany and Zanzibar, with the first flight of tourists arriving in the Isles today.
Let me take this opportunity to tell the world that Zanzibar and Tanzania at large is safe. Tourists should not hesitate to come to refresh with cool, clean environment, ideal to release lockdown depression.
The European tourists, they do love to come to East Africa. We see an increase in demand for travel. We all know that we are coming out of a very difficult time for the travel industry.
Domestic market capitalization has dropped due to decline in share prices after some companies, including CRDB and DSE, by 8%.
Ukilinganisha na wakati tunafunga mwezi June, na hii ilitokana na mapunguzo ya bei hasa kwenye kampuni ya CRDB.
These are results of price deduction from CRDB by almost 8%, DSE by 8%, although there were increase in prices from other companies like Twiga and Tanga Cement, where the net result was drop of almost 62 billion.
Ongezeko ya bei, kwa hivyo ile net result ikawa ni kupunguka kwa karibu ya shilingi bilioni 62 hivi.
Government is expected to start expansion of the port in Kigoma in order to increase its capacity of handling cargo, with stakeholders saying the measure will increase the number of domestic users as well as from neighboring countries.
Now, by the way, hapa tuna mpango mzuri sana wa kupanua hii bandari. Hii bandari jengwa mwaka 1900.
This port was constructed in 1997. Since then, a lot of things have changed, including demand of this port and its users. That is why we're expanding the port, as well as putting modern equipment and machinery.
Tumepokea maelekezo ya bodi.
Meanwhile, work is continuing as usual again, thanks to the government for the efforts of promoting this port. Honestly, there is a lot of cargo. However, because of plans of developing this port, We believe there's going to be a lot of changes that will help in increasing efficiency of the sport.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lynn.
Welcome back, and in sports news. Simba Sports Club arrived this morning at Julius Nyerere International Airport in Dar es Salaam from Kigoma region after winning the Azam Sports Federation Cup for the second consecutive time after the 1-0 win against Yanga Sports Club yesterday.
We win all the trophy in the local competition, so it was our target, and for the second years consecutively we win the championship, we win the FA Cup, so it was very good. Now I hope that next year we can take another step, particularly in the Champions League, because we have many regrets this year about the Champions League, and really we want to go more far next year, but it's very important to give these 2 trophies to our fans. Very important to win the championship firstly, to win the FA Cup. It means that Simba is always the stronger team in Tanzania.
A day after the death and burial of former chairman of Football Association of Tanzania, FAT, and permanent member of Confederation of African Football CAF, Said Al-Mamri, some stakeholders have said he will be remembered for the development changes he brought to sports, including FAT to the current Tanzania Football Federation, TFF.
Kikubwa pale panapotokea migogoro, mara nyingi huwa akienda yeye, mara nyingi huwa anasolve yale matatizo aliyoyakuta na kufanya kila jambo liende vizuri. Kwa hiyo tumeondokewa na mtu mahiri, mwenye weledi mkubwa,
kwa sababu yeye ameshiriki katika mabadiliko ya utawala bora. Kwa hiyo sasa tunatakiwa tustiki katika mambo ya utawala bora ambayo ndio atakuwezesha kutufikisha huko mbele tunapotaka.
Australia's swimmer Untitled triumphed over a 5-time Olympic gold medalist Katie Ledecky in the women's 400 meters freestyle on Monday. Here's more on the story.
In a thrilling final, the American world record holder was 0.66 seconds ahead at the halfway point. But Titmus managed to close the gap 50 meters before the finish, powering home for gold in the Tokyo Aquatic Center. It gives the Australian the advantage in the first of 3 potentials head-to-head showdowns between the 2 swimming powerhouses in Tokyo. They will face each other again in the 800 meters and 200 meters freestyle events.
And Tottenham have signed Sevilla winger Brian Gill for £21.3 million, with Spurs midfielder Eric Lamela joining the Spanish club as part of the deal. Here's more on the report.
20-year-old Gill, who has agreed to a 5-year contract, made his Spain debut in March and is part of the squad at the Tokyo Olympics. He made 14 La Liga appearances for Sevilla, all as a substitute. Argentina international Lamela joined Spurs from Roma for £25.7 million in 2013.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.
Live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.